Heidi Roizen, a real-life entrepreneur who became one of the most successful venture capitalists in the world. Now let's take all that and change just one little thing, the name Heidi, to Howard. This exact change was made in a study conducted by Harvard Business School in order to test perceptions of men and women in the workplace. Half of the students were given to read Heidi's story, the other half, Howard's. When asked about their impressions of the two entrepreneurs, all of the students rated Heidi and Howard as equally competent, which made sense, of course, because they were one and the same person. And while all respected both Heidi and Howard, Howard came across as a more appealing colleague. Heidi, on the other hand, was seen as selfish and not the type of person you want to hire or work for. James Arthur Baldwin, the American activist, playwright and novelist, talked about intricacies of racial, gender, and class distinctions in society. In my speech today, I would like to explore one of his main themes: the reason behind a small number of women who are among the most successful people in the world, and about the problems that these women face. But first of all, I want to emphasize that I am not suggesting that I'm an expert on said issue, nor that I have the answer to the question, what is better, to stay at home and take care of your child, or to go out there and face all the hardships that a profession might throw in your way? No, most definitely not. But this is what women should do first, right? Face the problem. Think about which way is actually the best for them. And this is why, in today's speech, I've chosen to focus on the women who decide to go back to work and change the numbers that are not in favor of us. But let's take a look at those numbers, shall we? Out of the top 10 most successful people in the world, not one is a woman. A study carried out in 2017 shows that from 146 heads of state, only 15 women were currently in office. Of all the people in the parliament in Europe, for example, only 27.7% are women. So what can we actually do in order to change the status quo? Sheryl Sandberg, the COO of Facebook and one of the most successful women in the world, made a point in one of her talks. She drew the attention towards something that really surprised me. Have you ever noticed that girls and women in general have the tendency to put their success down to external factors or really hard work on their part, but never their own abilities, capacities, or talent? Whether they are taking an exam, giving a presentation, or even doing a simple task, if you ask them why they did a good job, the answer will be they got lucky, someone else helped them, or they worked really, really hard for it. Our English teacher showed us Sheryl's speech in class, and we had a really interesting discussion afterwards. And I remember looking around at my classmates, and I asked the boys, these numbers and situations don't really affect you at all, do they? And they answered honestly, of course not. It's not our fault that the numbers are in favor of us. And I thought, no, it's not their fault, but they are part of this system of thought, this mentality. We all are. We have to keep in mind that women were given the right to education only in the last century, and then they were allowed to vote around the year 1918. Yes, they were somehow allowed to go to school, but their voice wasn't really heard. They couldn't express themselves. We all know that the Bronte sisters wrote other male pseudonyms because they couldn't publish otherwise. In Saudi Arabia, women were given the right to vote only in 2015. Yes, women obtain more university certificates than men, but in Britain, for example, 70% of all the mothers reduced their working hours or switched to a less demanding job compared to 11% of the fathers. I truly believe that we have to tell our family and friends about these problems and facts. We have to be open. We have to really put ourselves out there if change is to be made. Nothing is going to change if we don't face the problem. To conclude, I would like to say that no matter what choice a woman makes, the decision needs to be made according to her will, according to what she and only she sees fit for herself, her children and her future. She shouldn't feel in any way pressured into staying at home by society or her family. But in the end, I think that we can all agree. It's our problem, so let's face it. Thank you.